Spark a conversation, verbal elation, stimulation, education. This is Menage with the Mary Jane Maven. When we on the air, it's always a lituation. Might talk about some litigation, might talk about some immigration, might talk about some politics, but never talking nonsense. Yes, we on in the slide. Watch and listen, it's a vibe. Watch it while you getting high, or you can listen while you drive. Just don't forget to subscribe.
Roll up. Trying to get high.
I said it loud. I could say it louder for the people in the back, but you know, I've been told that I can floss a little bit. I'm an Aries. That's what we do. Toot your own horn so then everybody else can join you and start tooting it with you. So bars right there. I could say it a little differently. I should drop that off to my homie Drake so he can switch that up or my friend Jeezy and see if they can make that poetry. I can't see hubby's eyes, but I'm sure he's rolling his eyes. So next segment, guys, we're getting into. You guys know some of the things that I love other than my hubby and
I was
my
actually trying to
friends.
find this.
Oh, yeah. You guys know he teases me because he says that I'm not friends with G-Eazy and Jason Lee. I can show you on my phone right now the text messages. I get text messages from them. Just got one from Jeezy talking about his NFT.
Ooh.
Now it is through, apps like Community and things like that, where it allows you to reach out to your fans. However, I get the text messages to my phone, so therefore they are texting me. So once again, you believe it comes true. Yeah, he's just his finger's just on the button. He has so much to say. So next thing that we're gonna talk about, as I was just talking about Drake, this week's Music and Mary Jane. You guys know I love music as my boyfriend. I got to give shout outs because the album that I will probably be playing hardcore throughout the summer dropped this week. You guys know how I feel about Future. He only makes good songs when he's doing them with Drake or when he's doing la di da di da stop. I love those 8 bars. It is a bunch of nonsense. It's a bunch of nonsense, but it is one of the best bars ever. I'm not going to take it as far as whoever just wrote or did the think piece that said that Future is the best rapper alive. No. Let's not go there. I don't know if he paid you or what, but I will be the first to admit that Future's latest album that he just released called I Never Liked You. Love. The passive aggressive, petty, eerie side of me loves that. It just came out. I actually listened to it in its entirety. I think I almost skipped one song until I was like, you know what? He's trying to sing a little bit here. He's trying to get his Jodeci on a little bit. And it was a good track. Not surprisingly, you guys should know that my favorite tracks on the album, it's because my boy Champagne Poppy, he's on there. Mr. Drake, Aubrey Graham. The best one is I'm on One, which I've been seeing people talk about on Twitter like for the last week. I see why people hate on Drake. He would make you feel like an asshole if you get offended by the shit that he says. I love it. His verse is just crazy. It's fire. So my recommendation for, the Music and Mary Jane for this episode is go and download it. We can all download shit for free. YouTube Music, you can download it, all that good stuff. Give it a listen. Give it a good, thorough listen. So this week's Music and Mary Jane choice and one that you should smoke to, I'm on One. Future featuring I should say Drake featuring his co-collaborator on his own album, Future. So you've had some time to think about it because I told you this beforehand. But what is your favorite song right now? Your slap or like that song you always want to, put on when you're medicating or let's go ahead and drop that. What do you listen to? What's your Music and Mary Jane moment?
For some reason I really love it's this song by Jay Stalin and Young Doe. So they're from the Bay Area from Oakland. But
I know.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. But Friday Night, like that, it's just such a like funky, fun vibe. And every single time I play that song and I'm smoking, it just gets me like in a happy mood, no matter what.
All right. So I'm putting it on my playlist right
now.
I'm the type of person that I get up on Tuesdays and based on I cannot listen to the artist, but I check out all the new releases and everything. So, um, shout out to my nephew who is in Boston somewhere somehow, who got with the thick. Well, never mind. He so good. The old me would have said what I was gonna say, but I'll just give him a shout out because he was so surprised that I have family from Pittsburgh. My husband is from the rich. I'm a Bay Area girl deep down,
Yeah.
deep, deep, deep down, but that I never listened to Jay Stalin, that I never listened to
Oh, okay.
who's your cousin? Ed? Who's your cousin? I forgot. Okay, it's like cool. Anyway, that I never listened to Bay Area music
Like the
other
Bay
than like
rap.
E40. Yeah,
Okay.
either the E40 Too
Not my
Short.
cousin, but Jacka and stuff like that.
Mac Dre
Oh,
and
the other
all
one.
that.
Yeah, yeah. And the other one.
I know,
But
I know you're talking about my cousin. I'm just saying I don't remember his rap name right now.
Gotcha. So which lets you know how big of fans we are. No,
Well, he doesn't rap like that.
no, he hasn't.
Because
Yeah,
he
not
got-
anymore.
he
What
got
was?
five.
So what?
He got 5 members in the
Yeah. Was it Yellow Bus? No, that wasn't the song he was on.
That's Mr. Five.
He was on one song that I was like, oh shit, I forgot about this song. It was cracking back in the day. Anywho, so I'm definitely adding that. Bay Area songs that get me in the mood like that. I mean, any E40. And come like any E40.
Yeah.
Especially the album with guys, I'm drawing a blank because we've like completely kicked it for hubby's birthday for almost a week straight now. Oh my God, what is the freaking song? Woke up in the AM, posted on my plate. You know what I'm talking about.
There's a
I'll
big word on
find
my
it.
shoulder.
No. Nope. Just give me a second. Give me a second, guys. It's from his album that came out. I don't want to date myself, but maybe or maybe not. I was in high school and I was driving.
Whose album?
E40.
I don't know. That's that first album. I didn't listen to it.
Yeah, the
I
first.
was still in diapers when that album came out and you were listening to that.
Shut up. You cannot. Sideways.
I'm mind sideways,
Yep.
this way, that way.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was on that album. I was gonna say
On
the
the
one with the
one with the
watch.
white cover, right?
The one with the watch, the Rolex.
Yeah, white cover. I got you.
In a major way. Oh my God. I don't know how I did not remember that. That, yeah, that makes me. And then of course, like let's smoke a blunt, let's shit like that talks about
Yeah.
smoke. But I told you guys I was gonna give you a little peek into what we're about to smoke, which is gonna be our banana cream. I mean, nothing else since we've been talking about bananas for half of the episode. And this is Monterey Kush Company. I think I did forget that part. And fire guys. So this is what I'm about to roll up here. So I want people to realize and I've already talked about it, but do your research on how music and the elevation, the high of cannabis, how it actually goes together, and the wellness that it actually does for your lymphatic system, for your immune system, for your whole central nervous system, and the benefit that it actually does for your brain as well. We watch a lot of useless shit, and we're definitely probably killing off some brain cells with some of the stuff that we're taking in, but music can help to actually kind of like revitalize those. So,
And shout out to my cousin Kafani.
Okay.
Shout out. So, are you from the Bay or just from?
Yeah, I'm from the Bay Area originally. I'm from East
Okay.
Bay. Yeah, so I'm from San Lorenzo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you know about Pittsburgh and
Yeah,
you know about
exactly.
okay. Yeah. My family moved me out to Elk Grove when I was like 9.
Oh,
So
okay.
I say I grew up in Elk Grove. I mean, I went to school mostly.
Yeah.
I sing Garth Brooks to this day because of it. So yeah, but it's are you finding, I know when my husband moved out here after college, he ended up like we were someplace and he goes, I know them. I go, babe, no, you didn't. You didn't go to school out here. But of course, we've known there's been a huge exodus of people leaving
Yeah.
the Bay. Expensive coming here.
Yeah.
Have you been somewhere and be like, oh shit, I went to elementary school with them, or seen a lot of people that you knew from back home?
No, surprisingly
Okay.
not. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, they're staying low. They're staying low.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, shout out to the Bay. We know we love it. We know you guys are the backbone of almost everything, all
Exactly.
culture. So we are gonna move on. I'm just trying to make sure that I stay on topic here, guys. So we're gonna move on. We're gonna move on to a little bit of staying sane with Mary Jane topic. And I want to give you guys a little education. So we're gonna have a word or the term of this episode. Okay, it's going to be consent. CONSENT. I was gonna be a real smart ass and be like, its origin is from. I'm not gonna do that. So I am gonna give you guys a definition because I feel that since the pandemic and even quite before that, people have become very emboldened to speak out the side of their fucking necks, to not have any compassion,
Yeah.
to ask people to whoop their ass, basically. It's what a
Mhm.
lot of people have done. They do this by acting like we've never been told what consent is. I think we definitely know a bit more of the sexual related term now, especially because of the Me Too movement and things like that. But consent can be something that goes across all forms of your life. So the actual definition is consent is the agreement of, is the agreement or permission expressed through affirmative voluntary words or actions that are mutually understandable to all parties involved, right? Not just you, not just one party, all. The reason why I'm talking about this is because over the past couple of weeks, hubby and I have been tested. I'm gonna take a page out of the Bad Girls Club. They were really trying to get me out of my character, trying to take me out of my character, which nobody else can really do. But shout out to good old TV,
I
Natalie
love that
Nunn and
show.
the girl. Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Natalie's my girl, and I love me some Natalie now. But people have just been testing the waters and don't do it with us. You know, actually, it's probably good and better for them that they have because we are the type of people that will just tell you what we need to tell you and it's going to go from there. You might come across the wrong person that does not have the control, the couth, the upbringing, the understanding that common sense is not common to everybody and that you're an idiot, but somebody who might hand you that good old ass whooping that you're so asking for. We've had two just prevalent and memorable things happen in the past couple of weeks where, like I said, they're almost trying to take us out of our character. When hubby and I first got together, he was the one that short little fuse. Um, Now he has
Allegedly.
become the much more patient. I'm the one that will cuss you up, down, all the way around, say some things that your dead great grandmother will feel. Don't I'm the sweetest person, but then you and I use my words, okay? Um, but it was to the point where I had to step back and make sure that I was keeping my composure because he was about to hand out some ass whoopings. I will just say, guys, something that I talked about heavily during the pandemic, I see it as being a residual effect, I think, of the pandemic. We just got to have common respect for each other. Those little things that you learned in preschool that like Sesame Street used to teach us, or for, kids that are a little bit, older, younger than that, Blues Clues, what you learn from Caillou, whatever,
Yeah.
whichever form of early education that you receive, it was always be nice, treat others as you want to be treated. Have compassion, have
Human kindness.
understanding, human kindness.
Yeah.
Oh my God, simple thing.
Mhm.
There's a term for it because it's supposed to be something that's natural and innate in us. And there is becoming just a huge influx of people trying to eradicate the word and the action and everything that's related to it. I will just say, take a moment, guys, to really think about there's a lot of people out there that are still struggling, that are going through bad times, that maybe they have not paid attention to their mental health. And you may be that little trigger that gets your ass whooped. Or, you know, that person maybe gets away or whatever may be. But leave the privilege behind, please. Um, and just take a second to put yourself in somebody else's shoes. Personal space is a thing. Um, being an adult and not mocking people, being accountable.
Saying excuse me works wonders.
Yeah.
Works wonders.
Manners.
Yeah, saying thank you when someone holds open the door for you. I do not
Mhm.
have on a fucking little cute hat. I'm not a a bellhops or anything like that. So I just have to say that if it was not for Mary Jane, I probably would have had to cancel this, being like, girl, unless you about to put on my books, I'm gonna have to cancel because I whooped somebody's ass this weekend and I'm now in the county. Let's not forget, totally kidding. Let's not manifest that.
Yeah.
But do you ever have a time where you're like, oh my God, I'm gonna go and roll up that backwood, or let me warm this up and get this, this wax ready because the world is trying it. Like they want me to, lose my mind. But because of the beautiful plants, that saves their ass and saves your sanity. Do you ever have a
Yeah.
moment like that?
Oh yeah, like every day.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Right.
like every day I would say.
Yeah. And do you have kids, right?
No, I
You have one
don't.
kid?
Mm-mm. I mean, I have my dog. I consider my dog my kid. She's my daughter.
There you go. There you go. There you go. But I was gonna say, especially for a mama, I think for any parent, like fuck with some of these kids, and you're
Yeah.
gonna get that. Like that's something else that can trigger you. Um, and there's some people that should not be teachers and things like that. So you may be triggered that way.
Yeah.
So sorry, I gotta like switch up my position here. So that was, something I had to share. I mean, it wasn't on the outline, but I immediately thought of it. Like
Yeah.
it was crazy. So I have to, point that out to you guys. Now we're gonna get into some other bullshit, and then we're gonna get into letting our guest co-host share her story, so that inspiration, that motivation can get started there, get peppered into you. But I can't leave out this pop canna culture, the pop culture kind of information. I want you guys right now to go, well, after you're listening, go into your YouTube, find the YouTube channel that's called Karen Attacks. And I see why, and because they are Karens and Kens, the ones that get mad, but I see why some of our less melanated, other members of society, why they get so mad at being called the Karen now. It's not a cool thing, right?
No,
If that
it's
was my name,
insulting.
look, I'm going by my middle name. I'm gonna abbreviate that bad boy something. But there's a couple of channels that actually put a compilation together of all the bullshit.
It's funny. I watch those, I'll admit it.
Look, so like I was telling you before, the theme of this segment is, that's what you get. And if you did not whoop your kid's ass, you should, because when you don't, it manifests into this situation, to
Yes,
Kens and Karens.
it does.
It manifests into people not having any boundaries and not knowing what consent is. So I think that something should happen. I'm not saying that you should be able to whoop somebody's ass where they're really, really hurt, but give them that good, like, high school ass whooping, when you got in a fight in high school, or, something like that. When people try you, especially when it's a Karen situation, okay, we should just be able to get a switch, get a belt, and just put them over our knee and just whoop their ass. Whoop some common sense into them, okay? Because if you guys don't know, common sense isn't common to everybody. And so I have to share this because this is one of those good from the gut laughs that I got today. I mean, tears coming out, my jaws are hurting. So there was recently a Ken, which is a male version of a Karen. I don't like to call, I hate when they're like, it goes both ways. But a Ken who was on an airplane ride, he was a passenger. More than likely, he wasn't sober. And he was causing such a fucking ruckus on this plane that they taped him to his seat, then taped his mouth shut. I mean, and not just put it here, wrapped it around the headrest all the way around to get him to be quiet. I could not tell you how and it was so funny because he was surrounded by Black people. I cannot tell you how many of them had their phones out and laughing like they were at a comedy show, laughing and then egging him on because it was just so fucking funny. That is are you serious? Like, you're a grown ass person. You should never get that fucked up where you get taped.
Exactly.
That means the flight attendant had to go find the tape and then put it on you, and at least he didn't get knocked out or punched by Mike Tyson like the other guy did. And that's so crazy. Do you know that Mike Tyson actually gave that dude some shrooms?
No.
Like before yes, like
what?
I guess yeah. Now, if I was that drunk getting on an airplane, I wouldn't be on the airplane.
No.
Okay, they would set my ass down or send me home.
I mean, he also told him like, leave me alone hella times too.
hella times.
Oh, okay.
But he had given him mushrooms, I want to say, in the terminal.
Oh,
So he
okay.
probably was
Okay.
acting up a bit before they got on. And then gave him a little bit more. Okay, so he must have given him 2 doses.
Oh
I
my
saw
God.
one video showed him like kind of, putting in his hand like this.
Yeah, yeah.
And that still didn't calm him down. That probably mixed with whatever else the fuck he was on, took him over.
Oh yeah, no, he's probably
Bun,
just tripping. Yeah.
yeah, Bungai's a wonderful plant when you can control
Yeah.
other things.
The environment needs to be
Bungai's great.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That part too. Fungi is great with another plant, cannabis,
Mm-hmm.
and it's even better when you're camping. Let me tell
Mm-hmm.
you become one with nature.
Ooh.
But yeah, that's another example of like, man, slow your roll, okay?
Yeah.
Take several seats as well. But the second thing I've talked about Skeet and Kim and this whole what I think is fabricated relationship. I've been talking so long already. We're already an hour and a half, so I am gonna skip over that, but I'll come back and I'll give you guys a little content on it. You know how I feel. I like Pete Davidson, but now I call him Skeet because I'm Team Kanye.
Yes.
I don't like him. Okay. And he's in a movie with Machine Gun Kelly, which I
Oh my
probably would have seen.
God.
Oh my God, I can't stand him.
I can't stand him
Oh
either.
my
Thank you. I can't stand him.
God. And this is the movie that him and Megan Fox met on.
Yeah.
So she's in this movie too.
Yeah.
First of all.
And I
don't
used
you
to like
ever-
Megan Fox a lot too.
I did too.
Yeah.
Especially because she was with my teen crush, David Silver. I know his name is Brian Austin Green, but I still call him David Silver. And I just didn't like how she flaunted and very clearly cheated on her marriage because
Yeah.
you guys didn't go on on remote together, to film this movie for 3 months, and then all of a sudden you realize that you were fucking all over that movie set,
Yeah.
just like Angelina and Brad. But I digress. See, I started talking about it. I said I'm not gonna talk about it, but I can't stand Machine Gun Kelly. Now Skeet's in a movie with him, so I will not be seeing that. And I also don't like that they hang out together.
No.
Kim, sit your old ass down. Why are you hanging out with Megan Fox is kind of old too, but why are you hanging out with Skeet, fucking Travis Barker,
Yeah.
Courtney, who I hope she's somewhat more likable now that she's getting regular dick because she is not a fun Kardashian.
No.
Yeah, that's just not a group of people that I would expect to see out on a date. And if so, can you imagine sitting next to them in like Nobu or another fancy restaurant in LA, and you have 3 grown ass women
Like
who are
making
dressed
out.
and design, yeah, and then across the table from them, it looks like they're pubescent freaking prom dates or some shit. Like,
Yeah.
okay, that's enough. That's not even the topic, but I was going to talk about that before, but I want to tell him, stay in your role, slow your roll, take several seats before Kanye whoops your ass. I will say that. But so now I know you guys have been like, oh, what is this episode about? I definitely, like I said in my intro, we have somebody here on this podcast and somebody that you guys are being introduced to that you're going to be very grateful that you found out about, that you are going to be part of her journey in growth. And as she just mentioned, she has her new YouTube channel, and she's definitely somebody that you guys want to check for. If you see she's going to be doing a local event, go out and support. I told my son to find the drawing that you gifted. She was so
Yeah.
nice to give this to my son, and he's like, I'll get it for you, but he's had a headache all day and he's 11, so that should wrap it up for you. I'm still waiting for him to find it because I did want to share it, but I'll take a picture of it and have it on the website and stuff. But I definitely want to have you talk about your journey.
Yeah.
But how I'll make it very simple is, tell me your why. How are you here today? You were born, you're here today, feeling everything else between. So go ahead and share with us. Tell us about your journey and how you became a guest co-host on Menage.
I would say, well, my journey is through cannabis. I had met you, through this beautiful, wonderful event. But yeah, basically, I would say kind of just starting out like my life. I grew up in a pretty abusive family. My mom and dad are narcissistic. So I don't know, I've just faced every form of abuse, let's just say. So that was a pretty lonely life. And so I was diagnosed with complex post-traumatic stress disorder. And just, I don't know, like as a teenager, I was having a lot of symptoms of like anxiety, depression, suicidal thoughts and stuff. And so, just people were smoking weed and stuff, my friends. And so I was like, hey, I really want to try that. Like, I'm really interested because, I'd done research. It seems like it was going to help with with some medical issues. So pretty much the first time I tried smoking, I was 13 years old and I was with some friends and I actually like didn't get high. So my first time that I smoked, I was like, I really didn't feel anything. And then after that, it was more like social. It was smoking with friends socially. But then I was actually like buying my own and then smoking at my house every day before school. I was noticing that it was just helping me to be able to like cope with like sitting down and just my ADD. Just exactly. Like literally just to function and stuff. And
I will give it to you this. I mean, I'm going to let you finish and get on with the story, but I definitely like to point out times when people take obstacles and turn them into, just small little, hurdles that they had to, overcome to be able to become the person that they're meant to be. And so I want to congratulate you because, it becomes when you're older and you're an adult and you have your own kids, or even before that you realize, well, parents are just people. They're doing the best that they can and they have their own shit to deal with. But once you can understand that and then not be like, woe is me, I had such a rough life. Leave that shit in the, in the past where it needs to be, but allow it to be a motivation for you. I think that's when you live a much better life and you have a much better understanding. So, this is an example of a time where cannabis was part of your therapeutic treatment. Wasn't where you went to an office and met with somebody.
No.
But you were accountable. You were accountable and you were aware enough to know you needed to fix some things. Like not everything was right. You needed to feel normal. So I definitely want to give you a huge shout out and all kind of snaps for that.
Thank you.
And like I said, it's for those of you out there that feel like there is no answer and there's nobody that listens and nobody understands you. First little bit of a little nugget there that that there are ways out of it. And that there are people that have been there for you. So so I just want to say that. So you started more socially and I like you said, you started medicating your own because you started realizing how it made you more functional.
Exactly.
And okay. So go ahead from there. So you moved on, became a later teen into an early adulthood.
And then I just honestly like struggled so much. And I would say when I finally kind of like got down, how to be able to smoke and function and stuff, that's when I started, being able to use it more of like the creative aspect. And so I was able to like, okay, now I can actually sit down and smoke and like, do a drawing or actually like do a painting and stuff like that. And so I was just kind of doing that more so like here and there, even though like I've always been an artist my whole life. So like literally, since I could even hold like a crayon as far back as I can remember, I've always been making artwork. And
if you look back on it now, do you think that that was your way of coping with your upbringing and, and tapping into the fact that like, okay, I may have all this going on. There may be all this, the static and the ruckus that's going on within my life, but this is where I feel best. I mean, for me, like I used to write, I was a singer. I mean, I would sit down and write like a 1-paragraph story and then I'm like 40 pages in, so to me, that's when I felt like I was truly myself and most comfortable with, so like you said, from when you're able to, hold that crayon and start coloring within the lines, which I still don't do very well, but you utilize that as I don't want to say an escape, but also another form of therapy. So cannabis, as I've said, cannabis and creativity, that's a good connection. Like, and I like that you said once you learned how to actually medicate and use, cannabis, because of course we, back in the day, you used to just smoke. I used to
Exactly.
smoke. I remember
Just
being in
smoke to get
college.
high.
Exactly, exactly what it was. I didn't care what it was repping. We were talking the other day about smoking, what was it, Optimos? That we used to smoke hella much back in the day, and we were like, Garcia, Vegas.
Garcia
and shit
Vegas,
like, oh, my lungs hurt just saying that. But I didn't care where it was from, who had it. You just did it look like weed? Sure, probably early in my journey of becoming a weed smoker, somebody probably could have given me some oregano and I wouldn't have known any better. But
Yeah.
um, so I do like that you pointed that out. It's something that you can do earlier, in your journey with cannabis.
Yeah.
Start to find out how it best how it can best be utilized for
Yeah.
you. I highly recommend keeping a weed journal. People think that's so weird, but
Yeah.
pick your phone up and talk about how that banana cream strain helped you,
Yeah.
or did you get hella dumb munchies off of this one? And
Yeah.
no, you're trying to get your summer body on, and so it's like, well, let me stay away from this one, or I won't.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, so that's really good that you were able to identify that. And um, would you say that cannabis helped you to determine and discover really what your not only talent, but what your passion is and
Oh,
your purpose?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, 100%. Because I would say, and it really wasn't even until like recently, to be honest, which
Hmm.
is so
Hmm.
crazy. So, I had ended up becoming an alcoholic, so my own doing, just due to the symptoms of the
Hmm.
PTSD. And so I
Hmm.
had not realized it at that time. And then once I had actually taken some mushrooms, and that was when I had, my whole trip, and I really
Yeah.
realized that what I was masking up with alcohol. So it showed me what I was hiding. And
Hmm.
because I had kind of just quit cold turkey that day, I said, you know what, fuck it. I said, let's just, keep going. So
Wow.
I didn't do any research. And so it was kind of like a stupid move, but yeah, I did quit cold turkey. And with the alcoholism, I had such severe withdrawals. And the only thing that saved
Yeah.
me was cannabis. Like
That's all I can. Yeah.
I would be dead. I swear, if I didn't have cannabis, I would be dead, and I wouldn't even be
Yeah.
talking to you right now. But
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
was mostly, just like dabbing to help with the symptoms, and then I was taking CBD products, so like a CBD honey, just
Hmm.
smoking CBD,
Hmm. Yeah.
and I mean, it got me through it. Like it really seriously did. It was painful and rough, but like slowly but surely, I started to notice that the cannabis was actually repairing my body
Hmm.
on the inside, and so it
Oh,
was like
yeah.
I slowly was able to eat more. I slowly was able to just not feel so immensely sick on a daily
Hmm.
basis. Yeah.
Overall, I'm sure your skin improves,
Oh yeah.
your hair, your nails. I mean, you don't think about it,
Everything.
you
Yeah.
know. And when you drink, like when you first turn 21, you're going to the club, blah blah blah. If it's in short bursts, then your body can
Yeah.
repair, and you don't see
Exactly.
the effects of it. But if you don't mind me asking, and like I said before, you don't have to answer. What was your drink? If it's not too hard for you to talk about, like
Yeah.
what was something
Not at all.
that you were like, hey, me Tito's. If I'm really trying to get fucked up, give
Yeah.
me those Tito's, like Tito's. Um, and how much would you say were you drinking at like your lowest point?
Yeah. So my drink of choice was Sailor Jerry's, which is so
Woo!
funny because literally I only
Ooh,
drank it because I want to be a tattoo artist. So that was kind of the whole cliche of
oh,
like, oh my
nice.
God,
Yeah.
he's a tattoo artist,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna drink this.
It's a sign. It's one
Yeah,
of those
it's a
super good.
sign.
Yeah.
Yeah. So but I was actually at a bottle a day, unfortunately, at my
Wow.
lowest. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. And I know I was like in what is it called, Intervention. Like I love that show so
Yes, me
much.
too. Yes.
Love it because I was always
Mhm.
you watch the first 10 minutes of it and you're like, God damn, this person's drinking Listerine. Like, but
Yeah.
they're
Mhm.
functioning alcoholics.
Yeah.
But my thing is because I love human psychology, I'm always waiting for like get to the story and get to
Yeah.
the part where this is why they are now
Like
the
this
way
is
that they are.
why. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So
Mhm.
I know that they had canceled it some time back, but I think because of the pandemic and around that time, somebody was like, "Oh no, 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 this would be the worst time for you guys to go off the air." Like
Yeah.
with
No, they brought
where
it back.
people. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I know, like I was saying, when you see that, you kind of think of like, how does somebody do a bottle? But if you're getting up in the morning, going to buy that bottle,
Mm.
doing this throughout the day or whatever. I mean, I definitely used to work at call centers and I had a water bottle full of alcohol.
Yeah.
But you can still be, like I said, very functioning and whatnot.
Yeah.
Um, I'm sure that when you decided to quit, like there's always those dramatic scenes in movies when people are an alcoholic and they quit and they look at like all the empty bottles, or something
Yes.
like that.
Yes. Yeah.
Was it? Yeah. Did you have that kind of
Oh
moment of
yeah.
clarity? Yeah. Yeah.
Because I used to hide
Yeah.
them under my bed because I didn't want my parents to see. And
Hmm.
so what I would do is, yeah, I would just shove the empty bottles under there. And so one day I'd kind of forgotten about it and I had like looked and I was like, oh, fuck. Like, I was like, I have a problem. Like, or I really did. Because like at that point, I had quit, but it was just
Yeah.
like, wow,
Who
like,
put these bottles under here? What party
right.
was
Yeah.
this? Who bothered me?
What
Yeah.
is this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the financial investment. I mean, it's not cheap. I mean, right now, like
No.
I said, you can get some really good eighths of weed for $10.
Mhm.
Make your money last. not really when you are purchasing a almost $20 bottle per day.
Per day. Yeah.
Um,
It's per day.
yeah, so and you like you said, you're living with parents still, so it's not like you just,
Yeah.
had this endless amount of money. Um, but you can attest to when you're sick like that or when you have an illness like that, that's all that you think about, and you will do
Oh yeah.
anything that you can to meet that.
Like I was
Um,
working 2 jobs just so that I could afford to like have money for my wax, my alcohol, like whatever I
mhm,
want. Yeah. Hmm.
yeah, yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like you end up working to just support that.
Yeah.
Um, I appreciate you being so candid and sharing,
Yeah.
especially withdrawals. Like
Absolutely.
that is a serious thing, and most people would go ahead and go back to drinking because hair
Yeah.
of the dog, But I like how even without research, you kind of double-ended, that
Yeah.
that withdrawal the process of weaning yourself because you should utilize both the psychoactive aspect of it
Yeah.
and the wellness aspect of it with the CBD. So I like that you
Hmm.
kind of bookended, that and you did that without research, and now there's
Yeah.
so much more, available
Yeah.
information. So,
Hmm.
um, what would you say to someone because you are my third guest,
Yeah.
and all women, and because we're very smart and we, nurturing people, even when we're doing harm to ourselves, we know better
Yeah.
in the back of our mind. Um, but you and the other guests, I know that there was well, the other guests, they had like a major thing, like a health issue. Somebody got killed in a
Yeah.
car accident. The other person almost OD'd. Other
Okay.
than you just kind of realizing it and have that realization, was there one time that you can remember that was kind of like the catalyst where you were like, all right, this isn't cool anymore. Like I've got to do something else.
Yeah, I would probably say my boyfriend and I had broken up because it was just like a really bad time in our
Mhm,
relationship and everything. So I had actually been like dating another guy that I had worked with like at my job.
mhm,
And so, but me and my ex were still communicating during that time. And I remember he had come to meet me to come like either give me something or it was something that he had to meet me for. And
mhm,
he had seen me and he had saw like in person, I just looked awful. Like I had this infection on my face from the alcohol,
mm,
my stomach, like I just looked really bad. And so he had told me, he's like, oh my God, he's like, what's wrong with your face? And I took so much offense to it. Like I was like, what the fuck do you mean? Like, fuck
yeah,
you.
yeah,
Yeah. And
yeah,
like at
yeah,
that time, I didn't really think of it as him just kind of being like, whoa, like I've known you for so many years. Like this
mhm,
is so like something's going on.
mhm.
And
I
it
mean,
was
you're
really,
poisoning your brain. I mean, if you
yeah,
do hardcore drugs or even when you drink alcohol, it's very funny. Look, not a lot of us know a lot of crackheads or meth heads or whatever, but
yeah,
do not tell me those that have or know, they look like fucking hell, but
yeah,
within their mind, they're fine as shit.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like, they
exactly.
still look good, and the rest of us are like, "You have 2 teeth." Like, "Your
Yeah.
face is full of crater," but it's because it poisoned your mind, and it also
Yeah.
poisoned your judgment.
Hmm.
So yeah, so somebody that you really cared about
Yeah.
was very honest,
Yeah,
and so not
exactly.
only did you have to get past your own pride, you had to get past, like I said, your brain being poisoned,
Yeah.
um, and get past, like I said, get past your own feelings and you utilize it as the catalyst to your recovery.
Yeah.
Um, have you ever spoken with him and let him know that that kind of was like, "Oh, shit, you know
Oh
that you're
yeah.
kind of" that's awesome. That's
Yeah, I know
good.
he
And
knows
is
it. He even said, yeah, he was like, I wasn't even saying it like to be, mean or anything. And
yeah.
it's just I've always been very sensitive like about my skin. So I had
Mhm.
immediately taken it. I was like,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, girl, me too. Whew. Pandemic was not nice to my skin. All of a sudden, my
Yeah.
hormones were like,
Oh,
"Oh, what, girl? It's gonna change a
yeah.
whole lot."
Awful.
Um, okay, so did you find out that when you started to make that change, did you also have to change your environment and change your crowd and change like your friends group? Um, and if so, how did they handle that? Was it like kind of easy? Did you realize like, well, those weren't very fruitful or meaningful relationships because they haven't even hit me up to see how I'm doing, through this process?
Yeah.
Or once you told them that you no longer drink, you started getting less and less invites to do things, and so is that something that you had to deal with? Because most of us usually have to deal with that aspect of a big life change,
Uh,
especially when the activity wasn't very fruitful or the healthiest for you. Did you ever kind of experience anything like that or
no, honestly, like I really like don't have friends. So like unfortunately, yeah, I've kind of lived like a pretty lonely life. So it's like that's kind of like a positive where I was just like no one, like dropped me or anything like that. So I
Mhm,
was pretty like closeted alcoholic at that time. Unfortunately, I didn't get to get out of the environment of my parents' house at that time either. So still kind of stuck in that abusive, toxic environment was pretty triggering. So I think it was just me like changing my own habits and my own mentality. Yeah.
Yeah. Being accountable. I say that all the
Yeah,
time. Like that should be
exactly.
everybody's motto every year.
Yeah.
Once you're accountable and you're not afraid of that self-reflection and that introspect that you have to have. I know my weaknesses. I know. But I also know what I need to do to not fall into a pattern of living by those weaknesses.
Yeah.
I'm a bit of a procrastinator, but when I need to get shit done, I turn out some of the best work and shit that I ever do. But if I was lying to myself, then I probably wouldn't be where I am now as far as my career and the aspirations that I have for my life. So talking more about now that you were able to start using cannabis and your creativity of your art together, when did you start realizing, hey, you know what? This is a talent that I should start sharing with others?
It was actually like when I became homeless. So it was, it was right when COVID hit. So my parents ended up making me homeless because they just didn't honestly want me living there. Like, they're just like, you know what, we're done with you. Like, we're done with your smoking, just you having a job and stuff like that. And so they ended up just like kind of kicking me out. So at that point, I was staying with my boyfriend and his grandma, and his grandma is a bipolar alcoholic. So you can only imagine that environment's really not the best either.
Not at all. Yeah, girl. Oh, wow.
Not at all. And so that was kind of when I don't know, I was just smoking, and I would grab like an old newspaper and I would just draw on it, or I'd paint on it. And it's like, I couldn't afford canvases at that time. I honestly didn't even have any art supplies really. And so that was just kind of my vice at that time. And then it was at that point, my boyfriend, he's like, you know what? He's like, you're so talented. He's like, you should be like, either posting this or like getting this out here somehow, you know what I mean? And so I don't know, at that point I was kind of just like, oh no, like it's for fun. You know what I mean? I'm like, it's just something that helps me. You know what I mean? That's kind of how I always thought of it. And then I actually had made like my first canvas. I did like the whole resin coating. I got my first spray paint. So it was really like my first one in my style that I do now. And that right there just kind of like, I was like, oh my God, I'm like, this is it. I was like, this is exactly what I want to do. I've always kind of wanted this like cool style of art for a place. And like, that's kind of just always been my dream, is like, if I can envision this place, if I can create this art, I know eventually I'm going to have that safe place to be able to put it.
Yeah.
So then,
and it could be a safe place for others,
exactly.
And that's usually what will happen, is that you'll end up being a refuge, or, providing that sense of belonging for someone else. I love that. And I remember you saying that you wanted to get into tattoos, and I was like, girl, I love tattoos. And I say this all the time. You can only really be a tattoo artist if you have the ability to draw in the first place. And it has to be more than that. You have to have the artistic eye to be able to bring things to light, to life. And so I love that your journey, it's still like you're still evolving, but that you are very you're resourceful, and you are very naturally intelligent.
Thank
so
you.
People say there's a street smart and then there's like a book smart. You've definitely taken the street smart, and like I said, that's that Bay Area mentality right there, though.
Exactly.
Welcome to Menage with the Mary Jane Maven podcast with your host, the Mary Jane Maven. I am the producer, the hubby. Follow us on all social media, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Show us some love and click that subscribe button now. Don't forget to click the bell so you get notifications, and click the like button on the videos.
And now, your host,